Okay, so this is my intent for the first video of the year, is I have pulled all of my yarn, which you may not be able to see all of it. All of my yarn, that bucket, these 4 containers, and then a couple of odds and end bags. And I'm gonna go through all of them, and I'm only gonna keep the yarn that I actually have intent, that I want to make projects for, and that I want in my life, and the rest are going to go to Goodwill because I do not need this much yarn in my life if it is not bringing me joy. So right off the bat, I have 4 skeins of this yarn I just bought. This is the Big Twist Supernova. It's a 2-weight roving style yarn. Keeping those because I have a plan for. I have some granny squares that I'm keeping that I need to finish. And then I'm gonna have a basket of scrap 4-weight solid color acrylic that I want to make blankets or scrap projects out of, but I'm going to limit it to 1 box bag. We'll decide, depends on how many colors I have. I'm not gonna go through every yarn in this video. I have a time lapse going separate, but if there's any yarn that I really want to share with you guys, or I need help justifying, I will turn the camera back on and share it with you. But for now, I have this basket that I have been using for my semi-scraps. Like, this is a whole pound that I know I can use because I will probably border at some point granny squares with. So I'm going to keep that for sure. And then these are my little scraps. So I'm considering a scrap anything less than half of a hank skein, but enough to be substantial. So like, this is 4-weight acrylic yarn, and this is enough to be able to do at least a solid stripe in whatever project I make. So that is going in there, keeping this Dollar Tree yarn, but I know I can use it. And now I have an empty basket, so baby steps. I have 1 skein of this, and I don't really know. I can donate this. I mean, I could make something and donate it. So I'm gonna have any chunky single skeins that I want to. Okay, sorry, phone went flying. I was saying any chunky single skeins that I know I can make a project out of, I will be keeping, because I can make hats and donate them. I know a couple shelters in the area that'll accept them. I think these are going to be my first donation items. They just don't bring me joy. So, giant Ross bag, 2 skeins of yarn. This is actually really good wool that I just caked up because I wanted to make a cowl out of, and I tried knitting. It did not go well. So I'm gonna undo this because I could not figure out how to knit in the round. I'm still a beginner in knitting. I learned to knit and I can purl, but I cannot pick up a drop stitch, go back, undo, fix any sort of mistake at all. So I think I'm just gonna do a Tunisian crochet cowl with these because I have 4 of them and they are good quality yarn. So these are gonna go in my keep pile, which is this empty suitcase that you guys might have seen. Full skein scrap. Oh, I have a whip with this. I was looking for it. I have a Tunisian crochet scarf with this that I had needed 1 last skein of. This is some really fun textured yarn that I took the time to hang up, but crocheting with it was just such a hassle. You can't see your stitches, and so I gave up on it, and I know I am not going to complete it, so she's being donated. I actually finished a sweater with this yarn, but again, my gauge is so wonky. So I actually ended up with 3 extra cakes. I have a whip of a Granny Hexy cardigan started with this. So I'm gonna keep these because I already have a whip. I have a single skein of this. I don't really need it. Does not bring me joy. Okay, I think it's gonna be donated. This entire container, I probably should have not brought it in. A few years ago, I went to an estate sale and I got a whole bunch of really high quality wool yarn. I don't know if you can see what's in here, but I will be keeping each and every single one of these because this is like Imperial Yarns. It's a local yarn to Oregon here. It is 100% wool. All of these are 100% wool, universal yarns, bulky. We've got some hand spun yarn. We have got some Hand Paints Original Brown Sheep Company, Hanks, and this is just a really good yarn that I cannot bring myself to part with, except for this one, because I don't know, you can be donated, and I only have a single skein of this patent classic wool, but I know I'm never going to use it. So the rest is all enough to be able to use in projects or with other things. So all of those are all keeps. Sorry, not sorry. I will just be going through all my yarn now. If anything warrants me talking to you guys, I will jump back on here. So I'm working through my yarn, and I just had to laugh because you really should go through your yarn more often, because if you guys remember these merino squares I showed either in my last video or at the start of this one, I bought this yarn like 3 days ago on a random Walmart trip just because I was like, oh, I need a complementary color. So I bought this gray, and I bought this green, and I already had the beige, so the beige I had. So tell me why, to get rid of 1 skein of yarn, I bought 2 other yarns. Look at what I just pulled out of my stash. Yeah. Go through your yarn, know what you have, stash it somewhere. I've also come up with a conundrum. So single skeins that I know I'm not going to use, I have put into the donate pile. But I have these like half skeins or random bits and bobs. Do you guys donate these? I feel like it would just end up tossed. I don't know what to do because they're not full skeins, so I don't know about donating them. But yeah, I don't know. What do you guys do? I'm going through this. I have more yarn than I thought, but I'm doing pretty well because I have this whole bag filled so far with stuff that I am really, like, I'm being honest here, I'm not gonna use. I tried using this yarn, this textured, I really think this is made for knitting because you cannot crochet with this shit, this thing, sorry, excuse my language. I swear like a sailor when I am not at work or around my parents. I don't know why I kept it. I'm not gonna use it. I need to be better. Carrying on. So I've gone through all my yarn. I've decided what I'm gonna keep and what I'm not gonna keep. Kaiba has made an appearance. He is very nosy, and so wherever there is stuff going on, he has to be involved. Right now he's actually sitting right where I need, because I was about to start packing my yarn. Hey buddy, you're Kaiba, gatito mío, if you could be so kind as to please move away because I have to pack. This is the yarn I'm keeping. I will go through the yarn I'm giving away in just a second. But we might need to take a brief intermission. Okay, but thank you, buddy. Okay, so I'm very tired, but I've consolidated my yarn into those 4 baskets that fit under my bed, except for this little leftover pile. So this is my to work through pile that I want to get through so that I can have all my yarn fit under my bed. So I have my whips, and then I have these 2 Ogo yarns, which these are chunky yarns, so I can just make 2 hats real quick, or I can put something together. I'm not too worried about that. I've got 2 big twist carousels, also a bulky yarn, so I'm not worried about finishing that up. And I've got 2 little bits left over too that I can use to sew any pieces together. My sister actually forever ago asked me for a crochet chenille cow, so I'm gonna try to make one of those. I have 1 ball of Lily Sugar and Cream in a lilac color. I have 3 skeins in my single bulky skein pile. So hat, or cowl. And I have 1 bag of scrap for weight acrylic. I have 3 cotton yarn, 4 cotton yarns that I can throw something together real quick on. And I have this bag, which is a bag of shame, because this is a project I started so long ago. I actually had to write down the hook size I used on it because I knew I was going to take a break for a while because I got very frustrated with it. This was made entirely with baby bamboo yarn, which is from Ice Yarns. And it is a near complete swimsuit cover up, but something went wrong during the construction phase, and all my panels, like, I had it on the mannequin. I can show you pictures. Like, I almost had this thing done, but somehow I clipped, I don't know what I did, and it all fell apart. So now I just have long panel, long panel, long panel. And I got so mad and frustrated because I was so close to being done that I shoved it in a bag with the leftover yarn, which is not a lot. So I might throw this back on the mannequin and try and figure out what I was doing and where I went wrong and how it all fell apart, because I'm pretty certain it was almost complete when I had that little catastrophe moment. So that is my to-do pile. And this, let me back it up here. This is everything that is going to be donated. I am going to put it up into individual bags, because I feel like if you just throw it in one big bag, they just throw it in one big bag, and then you can't really see what's inside, and I feel like that's how yarn gets passed from stash to stash. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take like yarn. So like this is chenille yarn, and I'm going to put that together. One more chenille. And I'm going to put these 2 together. And I'm just going to go through and bag up all the yarn to make it a little easier. I'm going to put all this away. I'm going to organize. And I'm going to get to crocheting because I need to use up all this yarn so I can store it all away. And also I've taken over a spare bedroom, so I kind of need to tidy it up. So here's to 2025.